not gonna have a
You know, Terry was the only one that was ready. I
We're
wouldn't
live.
have been ready.
We're like-
Nobody else would have been ready.
Alright. I call to order the Borough of Hellertown Council meeting for August 3rd, 2026. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have that roll call?
Yes, all of council, the mayor, all of council, junior council are present, as well as all of staff.
Do we have a motion to adopt tonight's meeting agenda?
So moved.
Is it first from Tom? Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Larry. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. Do we have a motion to approve tonight's meeting, the meeting minutes from July 20th, 2026?
So moved.
First
Second.
from Mike, second from Tom. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. Up next, we have our courtesies of the floor. First is our pre-scheduled appearance, John P. McShay, representing Exchange 21 LLC. Welcome.
Hi, thank you very much. My name's John McShay. Gene Berg and I are here tonight. We happen to be waiting on one more person who's stuck in traffic. I don't want to waste anybody's time. If possible, maybe it makes sense for the other two agenda items under the pre-scheduled appearances to proceed if they're ready, and then
Sure.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. We will move on at this time to Deanna Mangiarcina.
Mangiarcina.
Okay. Hi.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I had sent an email to all of the council members, and Kathy, I think, had forwarded you the email that I sent to her about my appeal. So I'm here to appeal the sidewalk inspection that I had done last week. So I've lived at 557 Ellen Street since April of 2020. The property underwent inspection in 2020 of the sidewalk. Everything passed. We purchased the home. I purchased the home. I say we, it's myself and my son. I'm a single mom. We are unfortunately moving out of Hellertown, and so we did the required sidewalk inspection. We were notified that it failed inspection, and when I inquired for more information about why it failed, the items that were cited by Terry were the same as the way that I bought the house. I bought it in the same condition with the same cracks, with the same driveway apron that she has commented on. And I submitted a right to know request to find out that in 2013, it had failed inspection. And the borough failed to follow up on the failed inspection. The updates were never made. And in 2020, if everyone remembers, that was right at the start of COVID. All of a sudden, magically, without the required changes, it passed inspection. It doesn't seem appropriate to now put that responsibility on me when the borough failed to follow up on the failure from 2013. So I am requesting a waiver. I think I heard at the beginning, are you Terry?
Yes.
Okay, so I wanted to address a comment to you as well. When I called you to inquire about the inspection, your response to me was that I should be making enough money from the sale of my home to be able to afford these repairs.
That is not what I said. I
It
said
is what
that
you
the
said.
reason that this ordinance was in place was that council felt that during the sale of a home, that's when there's typically equity to make those sort of repairs.
But you know nothing about me. You know nothing about the circumstances of why I'm leaving Hellertown, what my financial situation is. And so I found that extremely unprofessional and honestly, just as a human being, unkind, because you don't know anything about me. So I am requesting a waiver to the inspection so that we are able to move, given that these were pre-existing conditions that the borough accepted in 2020 and nothing has changed since then. The sidewalks are even, They are not a tripping hazard. And so I believe all of the information has been sent to you ahead of time, and I don't know if you have any questions.
So actually, I drove by the property. And, I drove back up by it again. And I feel like that's a good picture to put up there, because the only thing I had a problem with was the.
Can you speak up, please?
Who asked me that?
Mr. White. Right ahead.
The only thing I felt there was an issue with was the apron. But I didn't get out with my tape measure and step on your grass and measure it.
So just so everybody's clear under the ordinance, as you know, there's a number of ways we can enforce the sidewalk ordinance. One is at sale. I think we recently amended the ordinance to say within 12 months from sale, so the property owners can work that out however they deem appropriate. But there's a separate section under the ordinance that at any time that we think there's a violation, regardless of what's happened 6 years ago, we can cite the property owner for a violation. So it's not just dependent on the sale. There's a separate section that you can cite a property owner. Although it makes sense, as Terry was saying, it makes sense when there's a sale that it's not an economic burden to the parties, or at least there's money there to try to rectify the situation. But it's obviously an issue it's going to be an issue for their closing, because it's now known and it has to be disclosed that it's in violation. So, it's under the ordinance. There's two ways to do it, regardless of whether it passed or failed in the past. This is 6 years later, and this is the condition it's in. And if the code officer feels it doesn't meet the status of the ordinance, we can enforce it one of two ways.
Thank you.
And can I just comment on what you said?
Sure.
So I do know that this past summer, the borough did sort of a sweep around Hellertown and made and sent out letters to individuals who did need their sidewalk repaired because there was serious damage. We were not on that list. And so I honestly believe it is because we are moving and because of the fact that there is now perceived equity in the home. It almost feels like a punishment because we're leaving, that this is now the requirement.
Yeah, let me just address that. So the initial sweep was for serious violations. So you're in the tier of violations, it might not have been that high, but clearly, yes, anytime it's mandated, anytime there is a sale, we review the property items just to see the way it is.
Correct.
That's just the way it kind of turned out, but it's based on the condition as it exists here and now.
And the condition today is the same as when I bought the property in 2020. So there's a photo that I sent in. It was the listing photo from 2020 where you can see the exact same condition. I will say we've loved this home. I don't want to cry. I'm an emotional person. So we've loved it. I've done everything that I could to make it a good home for myself and my son. And so it is unfortunate that now we're leaving. Just circumstances, I think, beyond our control right now. And so this is really putting a hardship on our closing and on our move.
And I think for your benefit, the ordinance says 12 months from now. So you could work that out as part of your settlement issues too.
So they would have to, right, they would have to agree to that, I assume.
They would, but
Right.
it gives you some ability to soften the blow, so to speak.
But again, you don't know anything about,
No, we don't know the terms and conditions of your sale, but obviously it's an issue that would have to be told to the
correct,
purchaser, and they're
Correct.
obviously gonna
And
say,
they're-
well, wait a minute,
correct.
I'm not gonna buy it. So you gotta balance all that out. It's a tough situation, but that's unfortunate for both parties. That's just the way it came down.
I believe the way it used to be, it had to be completed before the sale, right? And now we have the flexibility of 12 months after sale.
And it could be the owner or
It's
new.
the owner
Yeah.
or the purchaser.
And that's because of the law change.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be you, it could be the purchaser.
I will say that the borough should have disclosed, right? If there was a previous failure, it was their responsibility to follow up on it and ensure that the required changes were completed. It's extremely unfair that we purchased a home that didn't meet the requirements. And because of my perception is that because of COVID, because nobody was, during that time, nobody was really working, everything was shut down. I don't know if they came out to see it. It's obviously a different inspector than who inspected it this time. but it's a borough issue and you accepted it in this condition when I bought the home, and so it's extremely unfair.
Was there any further discussion on that item?
I mean, I'm looking at, you can actually look in Google Earth
Mhm.
throughout the different times where the car drives around, and it looks like the one, that lowest part, I'm gonna make this, is this the picture from 2013?
This is from, I
Well,
don't know
2020.
exactly, this is the listing photo from when
Okay,
we
because
purchased the home.
it does look like that, you can kind of see where that water is pulled up right there. It looks like at some point in time, because it doesn't look like that now, right? It actually looks better now than it does
Correct.
there. It looks like that slab was raised. So there are different ways of doing that, either mud jacking or the good old fashioned, your buddies take a crowbar and raise it. So I think that doesn't look like it does today. So somebody,
So we had our water line broke, the main water line into the house, and so when they replaced the water line and they packed the dirt back in underneath,
it raised it
it
up.
raised it up.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, I actually agree with Gail where the sidewalk, to me, there's one thing with concrete. It's guaranteed to crack, right? That is the only guarantee with concrete that you can ever have. To me, the sidewalk's fine because whatever you put in there is going to crack eventually, right? The issue here is more the apron than the sidewalk, right? And that's what I'm looking at. Guarantee. The only guarantee with concrete is it will crack.
All right.
Could
Jerry,
we,
your
could we-
inspection was the sidewalk and the apron
Yes,
to replace.
yes. And you can see the exposed aggregate throughout the sidewalk. It does not create a smooth walking surface.
I mean,
Larry, you had something?
No, it's, if we could mandate the apron without the rest of the fixes, I don't know. If that's possible, but given that there's failure points in the sidewalk as well. If that's the primary concern, if the apron is, I mean, it appears that that's, a bigger issue than the sidewalk. It looks like the sidewalk's actually more even than it was at the time of the last sale.
Mhm.
So if the apron's the primary concern on this property, I mean, there is, it's pretty rough compared to the actual sidewalk. If we could issue like a partial decision to fix the apron, but
Defer.
defer
Defer the
the
rest.
actual sidewalk.
You can do that.
Put the picture of the apron up.
Can the apron be in black concrete?
that's my other question. So being that Mountain View is mountable curb, right? It seems foolish there's nothing wrong with that curb, right? The whole thing's mountable in Mountain View. It's just the nature of the curb. Why can't you just put blacktop back in there and have it? What's stopping?
Be
I mean-
much cheaper for the seller or buyer
Right.
to re-blacktop than re-pour concrete in that section.
The price of asphalt right now may not give you much of a savings. And the quality of material would be significantly better with concrete.
I mean, the minute you pull a diamond cut saw out to saw cut that curb, there's no comparison on the price.
It really looks like black.
I mean,
It is.
It is.
it is. That's
Yeah.
blacktop. That's not, because those are mountable curbs. That was a blacktop median strip going to sidewalk.
So you're just asking for the blacktop to be removed? You don't need a saw cut for that, right?
No, you wouldn't have to saw cut to remove the asphalt, no. And you could put back concrete or asphalt.
I'd make a motion to mandate repairs on the apron. Material to be determined
At their discretion.
at their discretion, and grant a deferral for the rest of the concrete and sidewalk for this property.
I'll second that motion.
I think it's a good compromise.
Okay, so I'm gonna restate that. So we do have a motion to defer any repairs on the sidewalk portion at 557 Ellen Street, but to mandate the repair of the apron portion
With materials
with
of their
Discretion.
discretion.
material of your discretion.
Can I ask a clarifying question, just so I know what that means?
So the apron, so
Means
you wouldn't.
taking out the blacktop portion and either putting new blacktop or concrete in place, but not cutting the curb that's there, correct?
Correct,
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
yes.
Question, would notice though of this report be sent to the buyer so that they're aware of it?
They'll have to be-
Potentially-
They would have to.
Yeah, that's between them, but they have to disclose that. The seller would have to disclose that to the purchaser.
But would the borough want to see proof of that so that the new buyer does not
Right.
say, I didn't hear about this? or-
Right.
My
yeah.
agent does have a copy of the report. It was sent to her already, so if we could just send the decision, if there is a decision today. I believe when Terry sent the report, she copies the agent. So if she could just send the updated decision and copy my real estate agent.
But
Yeah.
I
is
think
that-
that would
Could
be
there be-
sufficient.
Could there be notice, just or
yeah,
requirement that
we
we get
should send
notification
notice
that the buyer?
To the
But-
buyer as
to the
well.
buyer. Yeah.
But the argument to that is it could be any buyer, right?
Oh, I thought they had a buyer.
Well, it's under the property under contract, but it could be any future, I mean,
Oh, I thought
Right.
they
you know,
had-
but it's not necessarily until this young lady signs that paperwork, she is the property owner and she has due diligence under law. I mean, that's, I hate to say it,
Yeah,
that,
I mean, by law, she's got to disclose
Yeah.
that to the purchaser.
Yeah, I mean, that's-
It's in the seller's
that's-
disclosure application.
I mean, I don't want to get involved of, you know, us going to different buyers agents. Like, I think that's creating a dangerous precedent amongst itself. Our dealing should be with the property owner of record at the time.
I think that's right.
Okay. Works for me. All right, so I did have a first from Larry, I had a second from Tom. Did we have any further discussion? Do I have, I'm gonna take a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion does carry.
Thank
So
you
we will
very
get
much
you
for your
a
time.
written report on that.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Wish you the best wherever you move.
Yeah.
Thank you
Really
very
good.
much.
Best of luck.
I appreciate it. And I'm gonna leave a little early to go pick my son up, actually. Okay, thank you.
Take care. Thank you.
Okay, your purse.
Thank you, though.
It looks like they have their
I
folks
would
back.
touch it, but
Oh, no. You're okay, thank you.
Mr. McShay, did you have everybody here now?
We do, yes.
If you wanna
Sure.
step up, we'll move back to you.
Before I get started, we brought copies of demonstratives in all different types of forms. So I have some printouts that I can hand out now. We also have some of them we sent in to Kathy this morning, he displayed. We also have behind me poster boards. So try to make sure that everyone can see what we're talking about here. So I brought 10, which I might be, I think we have 11 people sitting here, so I apologize. But you too, will share.
That's fine.
We normally don't share.
I have enough that you can have your own.
Thank you.
So as I mentioned, my name is John McShay. I'm an attorney. I represent Exchange 21 LLC, who is the petitioner. We had submitted a petition for a text amendment to the borough zoning ordinance. And essentially what the request would be to permit housing for the elderly, which is a use category in your zoning district, to allow that use in the industrial zoning district. I appreciate the courtesies in allowing us to have some time to get everybody together here. But with me, Gene Berg of Gap Architects will present after I, and we have Nemo Atia, and she'll talk a little bit about what housing for the elderly is, just so everyone has an idea. She's the president of several personal care facilities which cater to the elderly, so she very knowledgeable about the subject. I passed out that exhibit booklet, and so I'll note that Exchange 21 is the owner of a property located at 30 Bachman Street here in the borough. That's located in the industrial zoning district. It's about approximately 1 acre property. In your booklet, that first exhibit is the borough zoning map, and then behind tab 2 is kind of a zoomed in version. Look at your zoning map, marked there with the red font where the 30 Bachman Street is located. So you can see it's in the industrial district, kind of right at the border of where the R2 district begins, across Bachman Street, and then where the M mixed district begins on the other side of Oak. Some of the surrounding uses, you can see, kind of keep flipping through the book there, behind tab 3, that's a aerial photograph of the site. And you can see, again, it's marked there in big red font site. It's somewhat of a unique location where, again, it's at the end of the industrial district. It's across Bachman Street from a number of residential uses. There's single family homes, there's twin home, there's a 3-story apartment building. And then you have some commercial across Oak Street, and then you have industrial and auto detailing across Furnace Street to the left if you're looking at the photograph. What we're proposing, and Gene will show you guys what a proposed kind of plan we've put together that would be permitted under our proposed text amendment. But what the plan shows is we're proposing to locate a elderly housing building at the site, which would be comprised of 1 and 2 bedroom apartments. Elderly housing is essentially it's independent living for seniors. Seniors might not be the right word, but adults who are 55 years old or older. There's no staffing. This isn't assisted living. It's essentially just residential apartments, which, as we'll see under the zoning ordinance, fits under the definition of elderly housing, or housing for the elderly, rather. I do, behind tab 4, I just took out an excerpt of the zoning ordinance, and if you flip through the second page, I highlighted, you see 2 highlighted definitions, and on the third page, highlighted the definition of housing for the elderly. It's a residential community developed to provide housing for people, single or couple, in which one is at least 55 years or older. And you'll note there, in parentheses, it notes it's the same as an age-restricted or independent living use, which I've highlighted just so you can see those uses share the exact same definition. So you have 3 uses. They're all defined the same in your zoning ordinance. And then I just highlighted rather on that first page, the assisted living facility, just to highlight the kind of the differences between what this use is versus assisted living. Where an assisted living is a complex also designed to accommodate the elderly, but it provides staff personnel, programs to assist residents with activities of daily living. The units don't have kitchens, meals are provided in essential dining area. What we're proposing doesn't come with that type of daily assistance. The units come with kitchens. There's not a central dining area. Food, for example, isn't provided to the residents. And so that's just to give you an idea of what this use would be. And then behind tab 5 is we pulled out just an excerpt of the use table of uses permitted by district in your zoning ordinance. And I did that just to show in the neighboring districts, the R2 district and the mixed district. You can see housing for the elderly is permitted by special exception in both those districts. It's also permitted in your TC Town Center district. And although it's not listed in this table, a similar use, age-restricted housing, which we saw shares the same definition, is permitted in the R2 district. Multifamily residential is permitted in the R2 district and is also permitted in the mixed district. And so I say that just to point out that the use we're proposing is permitted in the adjacent zoning district just across the street from this property that Exchange 21 owns. And so the reason why we're proposing it is that it's our position, and you can, behind tab 6 is the industrial district, the industrial zoning district standards. It's our position that the uses permitted in that district aren't reasonable or aren't appropriate, rather, for this property in particular and other properties in the industrial district, which border residential uses, single-family homes, twin homes, apartment units. Due to just the residential nature of those areas, we're looking to put in a use that's less intense, obviously similar in character with the residential aspect of the use, and in our viewpoint, kind of blends the two districts together, the three districts together well, especially considering commercial uses across Oak Street that residents could obviously patronize. So it's our position that the use that we're proposing fits within the character of this area and similar areas in the borough. And so what are we proposing? The text amendment obviously permits this use, housing for the elderly, in the industrial district. It also imposes a couple conditions. It would require that that use is only permitted on a property which is adjacent to one of the following zoning districts, either the R1, R2, the mixed district, or the town center. And so it'd be obviously a property which is similar to the one we have here, which is adjacent to those type of districts, residential districts. And before I turn it over to Jean, just a bit of background. Some members of council may have been familiar with the plan we're showing or with this property because it has been presented to council before. Back in 2021, there was a different plan which was put together and shown to council and the planning commission for feedback, because at that time the idea was a land development plan which would require zoning relief. Feedback comments were taken or provided from council and also the planning commission, and as a result, understanding those comments, the plan was revised. Jean will kind of get more to these specifics and answer questions, obviously, but in 2024 we came back to the planning commission with the plan that's up on the screen now. It's also in your booklets, and we received more feedback from planning commission at that time. At that time, again, we were looking to get their review and recommendations related to variances that were required. Planning commission was in favor of the required variances, including a use variance. We went to the zoning hearing board in the beginning of this year. The zoning hearing board denied variances in part and granted some variances. In particular, of importance here, the use variance was denied. And so we kind of put our heads together and thought, what's an alternative way we might be able to accomplish this? And that was through our proposed text amendment. So that's kind of from the beginning to the end. Happy to answer questions, or we could have Jean present some information now and we can answer questions all at once at the end, if that makes sense. Sure.
My name is Gene Berg. I'm a registered architect with Galk Architects in Allentown at 1304 Hamilton Street in Allentown. And I've been involved with this project, since 2021 when we made our first submissions, of the original sketch site plan and in the submissions of the new site plan. So just as, to give you some information about the property, the gross property contains 41,929 square feet or 0.9626 acres. The net property, after we would dedicate some land to widen street right-of-ways of Oak Street and Furnace Street, would be 34,499 square feet or 0.7920 acres. The property slopes 14 feet in elevation from a high elevation of 300 feet at the northeast corner of the site, adjacent to the intersection of Bachman Street and Oak Street. That's at the upper right-hand corner of the image that's on the screen, to a low elevation of 286 feet at the southwest corner of the site. That's the bottom left corner of the site plan you're looking at. And that's on Furnace Street, adjacent to Roy Rover Antiques. Now, the small size of the property, the drop in elevation of 14 feet, and the property's location on the one-way Bachman Street bordering the site's narrow north property line, and the site's location between two 16-foot wide streets, that would be Oak Street to the east and Furnace Street to the west as they presently exist, precludes any industrial use of this property. But on the other hand, housing for the elderly is a low-impact residential use, which is a better fit adjacent to the single-family homes, twin house, and apartment building located across Bachman Street to the north in the R2 medium-density residential zoning district. It's also a good neighbor to the restaurants and businesses with apartments above, which are located directly to the east along Main Street in the M mixed residential zoning district. And note that as our attorney mentioned, housing for the elderly is a special exception in the R2 medium density residential district, in the M mixed zoning district, and in the TC Town Center zoning district, which are all adjacent to the industrial zoning district. When you observe the overall map of the overall zoning map of Borough of Hellertown, those are the three zoning districts which lie directly adjacent to the I industrial district to the east. A little bit of the history. Exchange 21 LLC submitted a sketch site plan in 2021 for another elderly housing scheme on the same property. The initial 2021 elderly housing scheme also required a use variance to permit elderly housing on the site's industrial zoning district, as well as a height variance to permit a 4-story, 54-foot-3 high elderly housing apartment building when 50 feet maximum was required in the industrial district. The 2021 elderly housing design proposal was reviewed by the Borough of Hellertown Council on March 1st, 2021, and by the Borough of Hellertown Planning Commission on March 9th, 2021, to provide recommendations regarding our variance requests. And during the course of those meetings, the Council, Planning Commission, and Dewey Fire Company provided review comments, which spurred us to revise and resubmit our proposal to the Borough of Hellertown in 2024, and again now. And the attached new sketch site plan, which you just had on the screen as the S1 sheet, and the building schematic plans show our revised elderly housing proposal, which we crafted to address the review comments we received in 2021 from Council, the Planning Commission, and the Dewey Fire Company. So the prior 54-foot-3 high 4-story building has been reduced in height to 3 stories at 46 feet 6 inches tall, thus eliminating the height variance. The new elderly housing apartment building is proposed to be 3 stories tall of construction type 5A, which is combustible protected construction, on a pedestal parking deck lower level, basement level of construction type 1A, which is a fire resistive non-combustible construction. The new apartment building will be fully sprinklered per NFPA 13. And the new apartment building will contain 43 elderly housing apartments consisting of 16 two-bedroom and 27 one-bedroom apartments. As John McShay mentioned, they'll all have kitchens inside them and bathrooms, so they're complete living units. In response to Dewey Fire Company's concerns to improve fire truck access, the new sketch site plan proposes to widen 3 streets at the frontage of our property. Bachman Street would be widened from 24 feet wide to 26 feet wide within the same 60-foot right-of-way by moving the south curb on our side of Bachman Street in front of our property, 2 feet towards our property. The new sketch site plan also proposes to dedicate 10 additional feet of our property to widen the Furnace Street and Oak Street right-of-ways, so Furnace and Oak will also have 26-foot wide cartway in front of our property. We also propose to dedicate no parking areas along the south side of Bachman Street along our property frontage and on Thomas Avenue to satisfy Dewey Fire Company's concern regarding fire truck access. Also in response to Dewey Fire Company's request, we developed a fire truck turning template site plan, which is on sheet S2. That would be the next image. There we go. That shows the fire truck turning template. This turning template shows that the westbound fire trucks on Bachman Street can make the left turn onto the widened Oak Street and Furnace Streets. The fire truck can make the turn on the south side of our building into our parking level driveway, and it can make a K-turn in that driveway, proceeding northward on Furnace Street and then left onto Bachman Street. Furthermore, northbound fire trucks on either Oak or Furnace Street that drove up the streets, from Thomas Avenue can also make left turns onto the one-way Bachman Street. Note that these fire truck turns are all possible while maintaining 1 row of parallel parking spaces on the north side of Bachman Street. Now on the next sheet, which is sheet A1, if you want to flip to that, there we go. That's a schematic diagram for the elderly housing apartment building, and it shows there are 16 two-bedroom, 2-bath apartments and 27 one-bedroom, 1-bath apartments for a total of 43 apartments on 3 floors. There's a fire exit stair located at each end of the building that serves all 3 apartment floors and the lower level parking deck. There's a central passenger elevator which also stops at all 3 apartment floors and on the parking level. The north stair tower discharges directly to grade at the 1st floor elevation, and the south stair tower, which is on the right side of the plan, discharges directly to grade at the lower level elevation because of the slope of the site. Then the next sheet, which is sheet A2, there we go, that shows that 40 parking spaces, including the required 2 handicap parking spaces, fit in the parking deck lower level beneath the building, which is really in the basement of the building. The building's elevator is conveniently located in the center of the parking deck level next to the handicap spaces. 3 additional exterior parking spaces directly to the south of the building bring the total parking count to 43 parking spaces, which is 1 parking space per elderly housing apartment. Note that as a consequence of tucking 40 out of the 43 parking spaces beneath the building, 40.1% of our net lot area will remain green space for trees surrounding the building. So it's really nice that we tucked all the parking underneath the building in the parking deck, because now you got green trees and some greenery surrounding the building. It's not completely consuming the site. In fact, it only consumes the building, the green space surrounding the building, which is not paved, is 40.1% of the area. Also note from the topographic contours on the sketch site plan S1, which is the sheet we had up 1 second ago. That's there we go. That's it. The property actually makes an abrupt dip in elevation right at the southwest corner of the property, where the driveway accesses our lower level parking deck. Consequently, the lower level is bermed with earth and hidden on all sides of the building except at the south elevation, which is the bottom of the plan. if we refer to the ITE parking generation manual, which I believe in your exhibit books is under tab 11, the land use 252 is senior adult housing multifamily. Average, this is a study of 3 different senior adult housing multifamily projects. And the average parking supply in those 3 projects was 0.93 spaces per dwelling unit. And in the study, they discovered that the average peak parking occupancy of those 3 sites was 66%. So even with 0.93 parking spaces per unit, a little less than 1 parking space per unit on average, those parking spaces were 66% occupied. And our traffic engineer, he's not here tonight, but he would be here in the future when we make further presentations. Peter Terry of Benchmark Engineering presented this ITE study to the zoning hearing board and testified that 1 parking space per unit in a housing for the elderly project is more than adequate to meet anticipated parking demand. Also note in your zoning ordinance section 450-7 definitions that the assisted living facility definition includes the following wording. And it says, quote, in parentheses at the end of that definition, an assisted living facility includes housing for the elderly, end quote. And also note in the zoning section 450-20 parking and truck loading space requirements, the requirement for an assisted living facility is 1 parking space per dwelling unit plus 1 space per maximum number of employees at one time. Now, our elderly housing apartment building will have no employees, so our 43 parking spaces satisfy that requirement. I guess with this presentation, we hope that the Borough of Hellertown Council and Planning Commission will find our revised Saucon Valley Residences elderly housing proposal and zoning amendment to be a desirable asset to serve the aging population of the Borough of Hellertown. And we look forward to receiving your support to move our zoning amendment and revised proposal forward.
Thank you.
We just had one final presenter who will be brief, but if you'd like to ask questions now, that makes sense.
Do you have a pictorial rendition of what the final product will look like? And not a map, but a picture.
I have a rendering of the.
Let's see that.
We can put one together and bring it, at a future meeting if you like.
Yeah, we haven't gone so far as to put.
Like it
that's
sounds like you're early into it, but I think that will be helpful.
Sure.
Okay.
Um,
I was wondering if you could just give just very quick bullet points on the big changes from the 2021 proposal to this proposal now. I've been on planning commission kind of throughout all of this from 2021 through now and still am. So for everybody else's benefit, if you could just kind of go over kind of the big things that are different. I recall parking was one of the major concerns.
I actually have the board with me tonight.
Yeah.
We didn't put it in our presentation because we're not promoting this plan, but it happened to be in the package of boards.
I think it would just be good for context.
Right. So that original design, it did not widen Oak Street or Furnace Streets. It kept the street with cartway widths the same. It placed a 4-story, 40 senior living apartment, elderly housing building, which was on the north portion of the site, meeting all the setbacks. And it had only surface parking, which was across the south portion of the site. So that parking, was flow through from Oak Street to Furnace Street, and it was a 4-story building that was placed towards the northern portion of the site.
So it was a higher building.
It was a higher
initially.
building to fit the same number of units or 40 units in it, and it had surface parking. So there was much less of the site was there was less we had more impervious coverage. It was a 72% impervious, as opposed to 60% impervious that we have on the new plan to give us 40% green space. So this had more paved area because the parking was not tucked underneath the building.
Given the current I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. Would you still be seeking relief for parking spaces for this?
They wouldn't, and I realized after I sat down, I kind of skipped some of the things that are proposed, at least in our petition. One of them would be to change the require parking for housing for the elderly to provide one parking space per dwelling unit. So we would be, under this petition, we'd be compliant. The other change that it makes, in the industrial district, building coverage is raised to 50%, whereas currently is at 40%. I think some of that is related to the fact that we're dedicating land to the borough in order to widen some streets, so our percentages kind of shrink there. And there is no, for elderly housing, in the current zoning ordinance, there's no density requirement anywhere. And so we included a density requirement in the proposed amendment, which would be, we propose 45 units per acre. So those are the main changes. I have a copy of, I believe only one copy of the petition, but I can show that to you, which if you read through it, I think it's only a page.
The petition is included in the packets.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although this is not a formal.
Right.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just like a comment. So right now in the ordinance, housing for the elderly does require 2 parking spaces per unit plus whatever staff. And then actually in the R2 district, housing for the elderly is capped at 15 units per acre.
Oh, is it under the age restricted?
It's under housing for
Use?
the elderly.
I must have missed that. I apologize.
So it's currently 15 units per acre in the R2 district.
So this is more for council, on this, it's all great that they want to dedicate more land for their property frontage, but that doesn't fix the matter of there's still buildings coming down from Main Street. It doesn't fix the actual entrance down to that component of town, right? So you can widen the road to whatever you want around their property, but the road can't get any wider from Main Street to that first alley and that second road, right? Doesn't fix that fact. It also doesn't fix the fact from Thomas to that parcel, it's barely one way now, right? So it doesn't, it's great that they can kind of move numbers around, but the problems that existed in 2024 and 2021 are still here, right? So, in my view, it's too much, and assumption that there's going to be no visitors to see that. I would hope that if you have a senior that you visit them, right, from a family component. But the assumption is going down to 1 space per unit is the assumption of I'll never have a visitor, right? And that's sad in a way, but also we're just spending money on a parking study for the borough to identify other areas of parking, and this would put an undue need for street parking in an area that doesn't have it now. So, I mean, in my mind, this doesn't make sense for the borough, and I certainly wouldn't be in favor of doing a zoning amendment. One could argue maybe perhaps spot zoning to meet a specific need of a developer to put it in there. And that's just my thoughts, but I said my piece.
From an EMS standpoint, you talked about fire, but if you have three units on top of each other, correct?
3 stories of apartments, yes.
3 stories of apartments. And I heard an elevator at one point
It's in the middle.
in the
Center
middle.
in the middle.
How do people access the third floor, the 3rd story?
You can either access it, there's an elevator in the center, and there's two stair towers, 2 enclosed stair towers that are 2-hour fire rated with fire doors on them.
So what type of, because I'm thinking of, first of all, you're talking elderly, so you're gonna have more ambulance type calls. I'm basing off experience. I'm trying to think in my mind, how are we gonna get a stretcher from the parking lot, which is part of the reason I would like to see your addition, to see, okay, where do we pull in? How do we get a litter up to the 3rd floor? We're
So
not gonna take it up a stairway.
Yeah.
And-
I don't mean to cut you off whatsoever, but we do have Mrs. Atia here,
Okay.
and she could talk about her experience in the operation
Okay.
aspect of what those things look like. And maybe it's a good time now, or we can.
And our elevator will fit a gurney inside it. That's a definite.
Well, I have a question. When you widen the streets up down there, we're used to having one But we go through now, we just one plow through. Now you're widening, so that means we gotta make 2 passes. Where do I go with the snow? I go down Bachman. I can't make that bend. Everyone's parking down there. If I try to make that bend with a plow, she goes straight with the plow down. I'm going to the cars. That's our problem when you start widening stuff like that, which I think is a great idea. But then at the other end, like Tom said, Thomas, you're not widening. So you get some mixed motion on that part. And just to let you know, from a thing is when water rains pretty heavy and stuff coming down Main Street, comes around that bend down Bachman, you better have some new catch basins around that building because that's one corner. It takes a lot of water. So I'm just giving
No,
warning, you know.
certainly. And obviously, if this were to be approved, any applicant would still have to go through a land development approval process, and stormwater management, those type of things would have to be acceptable to the borough.
Now, where would you put your dumpster?
That is on the site plan at the south side of the dumpster is right
We only have
here.
one access coming in right off of Furnace.
There's a 2-way driveway that comes in off the Furnace, which is at the lower elevation, that goes into the parking deck, and there's a dumpster. The dumpster's right here. So,
Okay, but then you're gonna have to make sure, because if people park on that side of Furnace, I can't get a garbage truck out of there. Gotta be wide. We got 10 more garbage truck. They don't turn that sharp. Just so they're trying to get in there, and if you ain't wide enough, they're gonna have to back.
we have a 24-foot driveway there that leads back into the dumpster, and then there would not be parking in front of the driveway, as there would never be parking in front of a driveway since it is a driveway itself.
All right.
So this might be a good time for Mr. Tia just to provide you guys some information on what the operation might look like.
Hi, hi. My name is Namita Kapoor-Atian. I've been in the healthcare industry with seniors over 30 years. So I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'm also happy to learn. My background is we have Saucon Valley Manor 2 and 3. Saucon Valley Manor Main is 3 floors, and we work with you guys 24/7, getting everyone out and in. Saucon Valley Manor 2 and 3 are 4 floors, and the 2 and 3 are independent living, where the main building is all assisted living. We do 4 levels of memory care, advanced care, Hoyers, hand feet. So we work with your fire department, your EMTs probably daily. And recently somebody in your town ran into my building, so we worked with your police department as well. So we want to be good neighbors, and we would never do anything or put anything in Hellertown which would not be advantageous, not just to the elderly, but to the community. This is now our community. We've been here 28 years in Hellertown, and we're very proud to be here. So I oversee, as I told you, the 3 Saucons. I oversee Whitehall Manor, I oversee Parkland Manor, and Bethlehem Manor. So we're familiar with all the areas and all the ordinances and things in the various areas. There's a huge, huge need in the valley for elderly housing and apartments, which aren't like our independent, where we offer you weekly housekeeping or the meals. They want to be able to do these things on their own. We get calls from people throughout the valley, a lot from this area as well, Upper Saucon, Lower Saucon. Can I back the meals out? Can I not get the housekeeping? So this is basically answering the need of the population. And I'm 60. I definitely am into this, so I understand what is happening. The operation will function that they are pretty much on their own. They're not even considered independent. They're basically apartments that are age restricted, and people coming in there, if they want to say they're sick or they're having a bad day, they would notify us through electronic communication. I would like lunch or dinner brought in. My staff needs to know 24 hours ahead of time. We will take it, drop it in the central locations. They will pick it, and we'll go. Saucon Valley Manor is right down the street. And I completely understand your point. I know sometimes when I've had to leave during snowstorms, we have 6 other lots there, and unfortunately, they've become the dumping ground as well by the Demo Club over with snow from all of Hellertown. And so we would never impose the snow to someone else. We've recently changed our dumpster company as well. We're no longer using Shrin, and the company we're using they have smaller trucks and they're coming more times. So they're able to fit in the area behind Saucon Valley Manor, which is very narrow if you see where our kitchen is, and they're able to fit in the back where we have our dumpster. So I'm not concerned because I think they're doing an exceptional job with our recycling and our garbage. The type of people that would be living here, again, it would be age restricted. We aren't looking to care for them. We aren't looking to do their meds or their showers or AM, PM care. If they need all of that, we're happy to show them Saucon Valley Manor. But if they wanted to contract us for meals, or if they're sick and they'd like us to come do housekeeping, it can be done. And we can offer that, but it would be way ahead. We are not looking to add staff here at all. And it's a very easy walk from Saucon Valley Manor. So we can even walk. But if they were dropping off meals, they would take the Cambro over in the vehicle, drop it, leave, come back. Again, if somebody would need assistance, they have a right to go to any building they want, but Saucon Valley Manor will offer them services as well. We will not have a kitchen on site. We will not have anything on site. They will have their own kitchen and services to cook and clean and do what they like. I don't think, in my experience, we started Saucon Valley Manor 2 in 2015. We built Saucon Valley Manor 3 in 2018. And this is not a feasible situation to do with 15 units. You need 40 plus units. And it's important to have that. You can come visit. Any of you are welcome to Saucon 2 and 3 to see why you need the units. And I feel that it's great to have now Lehigh Valley Hospital as a neighbor right there on Main Street where you have Wawa, Sheetz. This has become a very developed area. What we're doing is we're helping the most needy group, and that's our older group like me. And I think this is a great thing. I think this is an amazing project to have. I'm honored to put my stamp on it, and I think it'll be a great partner to help all the restaurants in Main Street. I know we use Sailors all the time and Limon, and we want to help. We want to be good neighbors, and we want to do that. So you can't do that with 15. You need 40. We have to make this feasible and financially okay, so we can pay back to the community and the taxes and things. So this is also the standard in the industry. If you look at PALA, if you look at what's happening nationally, it's 40 and above. There's some places that are 75, 80. I think we're making a very nice compromise here with 43. I'm happy to answer any questions or concerns you may have. I think our good neighbor policy will stand here as well, and we will do whatever we can for the community, as we did. I remember in 2012, I got a call at that time from the chief. We have people, they need oxygen, they need help, they have no electricity, all the power's out. We brought them in, and we took care of them, and we're happy to do that. And we want to continue to be a good neighbor. We just ask that you consider us to give this back to the people that don't need independent living or assisted living, but need less. Any concerns or questions? Well, if you do have them, my number's posted all over town. We're always hiring. Feel free to text me. I'm available till about 12 at night.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that's our presentation. Happy to answer any more questions, but obviously this is this isn't a hearing, but we're asking you to consider this and if interested, to let this go forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, we do have one more scheduled appearance this evening. Mr. Wagner, when you're ready.
I mean, Lindley, I know they're still here, but since they're still here, I mean, I would offer a motion
Oh, sure.
to do nothing with the proposal and let it die as submitted.
I do have a motion then on the petition to change the zoning for the Bachman site to.
It's just to whether we're gonna proceed under this.
Yeah, not to proceed,
to not proceed with changing the zoning. Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll say.
I do have a second from Larry.
So question,
We have more discussion?
no, there's questions.
Yeah.
Can they request relief from the zoning? I'm confused kind of why it came here instead of going to zoning for planning, or did it already?
It already has gone to zoning and planning, I believe.
Correct. The use variance was denied, and it went through planning, but I believe they indicated that the use variance was denied. Previously in 2024, I think they said.
And the design changed. It was actually in January of this past
This year, okay.
Yes.
Any other discussion or questions?
I mean, I think planning has exhaustively talked about it for the last 5 years. It was denied in zoning.
Yeah,
There was
it's been
vocal-
planned twice, in my memory. The biggest issue was still parking, then and now, and even the newest designs, which are improvements, from the first plan. I mean, like the first plan was a 4-story with no parking deck. This is a 3-story with a parking deck, but it's still only half the amount of spots that our zoning calls for already. So it's an improvement, but it's still half the amount of parking spaces for that. Like as I understand it, and to your points that like one to one is not consistent with anything that we do in the borough now, despite what other studies prove for.
And I believe on that, I believe when we had the planning commission redo some of the saldo requirements, they looked at parking for residential units, and that was a topic of great conversation and debate. So I mean, to go back on that after all of the time that was put into that, I just don't feel that.
I would say it's I'd be comfortable saying like we made parking requirements greater.
Correct.
Since
It didn't go
Yeah,
it didn't go the other
lessen.
direction.
I mean, we went so far as to mandate the size of garage spaces
Right.
in town because we're having such a problem with parking. So, yeah.
Ready to take a vote? All those in favor of not moving forward with the petition, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion does carry. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Wagner.
I'm gonna give this to Catherine, just to enter it into the minutes. You guys all got a copy of it this morning, but
Well, then here, I have a copy.
that's fine. You got it, and it's fine.
We do have a digital copy.
All right. Sorry for the voice, but here we go. So good evening, council. Before showing just some field photos, I want to be clear that this is not a personal critique of staff. I recognize the effort involved in demanding workload. However, the borough owns municipal decisions that carry the weight of law. And I just want to say again, I am not an engineer or an attorney, but when I consult regional ADA technical centers and federal guidelines, the answers are always clear. These installations are non-compliant. Tonight's agenda item for 557 Ellen Street proves a point without objective published criteria. You get arbitrary results. One code officer determines one outcome and the second determines another. Next slide, please. Already in it. So these are just some of the things that regulatory framework that is usually used with sidewalks. ADA standards was, is in 2010. You've got ProWag. In 2023, resurfacing alteration rules that basically state that there's no grandfathering. And again, I'm not an attorney and an engineer, but these are the things that are commonly used throughout the United States and throughout towns like ours. Next slide, please. So simply, I just look at Mountain View, and I go for walks. So I don't go looking for things. You don't have to look. You just go for a walk. You see things. You ask questions. You have a right to know. So I put this in your documents. You have the street numbers, but here publicly, I prefer just to be property A. Basically, it was the first issue was a permit ZP 026135 at Juniper Road. The permit authorized a 36-inch overlay. But looking at the tape measure on the next couple of screens, you'll see that it was actually installed at 27 inches. And the federal ProWag requirement is 48. So that's in some ways, that's certainly part of the problem. It should be at 48. We're doing 27. And the next slide, 36. If you look at the next slide, it's just a matrix. Kind of summarizes everything for you. Property A, property B, there was notices given on March 24th. There was a 3-foot asphalt walkway installed. There was no ProWag, no ADA evaluations. There was nothing in the right to know files. That's all in the 45 pages. So you can look at all of the information that was sent, all the pictures, all the documentation. It's all there to read. It's there to be, it's the backup. So on July 6th, there was a response letter that cited grandfathering, and really there is no grandfathering. When you touch something, it extinguishes the opportunity to be grandfathered, basically. If you alter it, you've changed it. And those are the new regs. Those are regs that are out there. And again, I don't have the experience of an engineer, but you guys have the people on staff. If I'm wrong, I don't mind to be said, then I'm wrong. But this is what it seems to be. And in one place we're installing 48-inch sidewalks. In one place we're installing 27-inch, 36-inch. Doesn't make sense. So the borough's July 6th letter claimed the lack of opportunity to inspect unpermitted work at the property B. So basically, property B installed the sidewalk, didn't have a permit, and the answer that I received was that it was basically marked abated in the spreadsheet, which means it was no longer an issue. So I was confused by that, because if you don't have a permit and you don't get inspected, how can it be abated? And why would it be abated if no one ever inspected the property or the sidewalks? And it's installed improperly. So that's basically Mountain View. You can look at all the documents. You can read everything that I've got there. I'm just using the information that I was given. At Reinhardt Park on the next slide, I'm sorry, you'll see these. There's the slides of the property. It's 27 inches. It just shows an overview. And the next slide, the ADA ramps. When I asked the question, why wasn't it addressed, there was no answer. It was never responded to in the letter. And if you look in the July 6th letter, you'll see the response. You can make up your own mind. Next slide, please. Property B, same thing. overview on the left, 36 inches, there's close up, 36 inches. ADA ramp, not addressed. So if you go down to the next slide, it says Reinhardt Park. Next slide, Terry, thanks. So I just made an estimate. There's probably $50,000 in those ramps, probably more, because those are some big ramps, and they're great ramps. But the problem is there's still no connectivity in some of those places. And we talked about it April 24th. And if you look at some of those things, the ramps drop right into 5-inch vertical obstructions. Or to get on the ramp, you have to go on a 4-inch dip. Where you don't go, you go over a sidewalk that's got steps on it. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand why we would consider that connectivity, because it isn't. So, next slide. Here's some of the pictures. And these pictures, I believe, are all properties that receive ramps. So I don't know how that works, but I assume they get a free ramp. There's no cost to them, I guess. So the ramp's installed, but yet on their own property, they have that. Next slide. Or if you're 100 feet away from a ramp, you have that. Next slide. Or if you look at this property, that one ramp on the left was never addressed, and if you look to the left, next slide, please. This is where someone on the, that's 50 feet probably from a ramp that was just put in. Okay, I mean, so these are all connected, so those are connected sidewalks. And that's what someone with a disability, a walker, an elderly, a young couple, whatever. It doesn't make sense. And what doesn't make sense about this is why wouldn't we not address those issues exactly when we put in the ramps? So I mean, honestly, the people that got the ramps, God bless them. But then we should make at least that portion of that area accessible. And it's not. And it's a shame. So next slide, please. I'm gonna just pass on those and just ask you to, instead of reading through our final slides, I just ask council and the manager, the borough manager, to review the executive summary. You will find 4 specific embedded compliance questions regarding these exact issues. And I'm just requesting that the council or the solicitor provide written, itemized responses to those 4 questions within 14 calendar days for the permanent public record. And why 14 days? Well, we talked about Reinhardt Park on April 24th, so that's been a while. July 6th, we got the letter of the explanation of what happened out in Mountain View. So 14 days, I think, is reasonable. So there's 45 pages to look at, and it's just documentation and it's backup. So I guess all I'd ask would be, I would appreciate an answer in writing for this question. Is that fair enough?
Terry, I think, do you have something to
I have
add?
a statement prepared.
I can certainly read my statement if you're ready.
Are you done, Mr. Wagner?
Sure. I am. I guess I'll listen to her statement. I'll get a chance to respond. Because I didn't get the statement. She got my documentation. I didn't get her statement. So how would that work?
You can stay and respond.
Okay. I might request to respond at a later time once I get to look at it. Go ahead.
Yes.
Madam President, thank you.
Yes, please. Thank you.
After reviewing the presentation submitted by Mr. Wagner, I prepared responses based on the borough's administrative records and current practices rather than the assumptions or legal conclusions contained in the presentation.
Can you please speak up, Terry? Thanks.
The presentation first asks about the sidewalk connectivity around Reinhardt Park. The improvements completed there were part of a grant-funded project that focused on installing ADA compliant curb ramps within the limits of that project. While the borough recognizes there are additional sidewalk improvements that may be desirable in surrounding areas, those locations were outside the scope of the grant. Like many municipalities, we continue to identify sidewalk deficiencies throughout the borough and prioritize future improvements through engineering review, capital planning, available funding, and grant opportunities. Presentation also questions the approval of a zoning permit for work involving a sidewalk that is alleged to be 27 inches wide. The borough does not maintain a separate engineering analysis certifying that every existing sidewalk complies with every federal accessibility standard. Issuing a zoning permit authorizes the proposed work under borough regulations. Another point raised concerns the borough's use of the term abated. I think it is important to clarify our administrative process. Within the Zoning and Codes Office, abated is simply an internal tracking designation indicating that a property owner has taken the required administrative steps to address a violation. In most sidewalk cases, that occurs when a permit application has been submitted and accepted, allowing the project to be tracked through our permitting system. It is not intended to mean that unpermitted work has been inspected or approved. If sidewalk work is completed before the required permit is obtained, the borough's adopted fee schedule provides for a 20% surcharge on the permit as an after-the-fact permit fee. The presentation also suggests the borough should reopen previous approvals and assume responsibility for remediation costs. At this time, there's no basis for reopening previously issued permits or for the borough to assume financial responsibility for privately owned sidewalks. Under borough ordinance, maintenance of sidewalks remains the responsibility of the adjoining property owner. If credible new information is presented indicating additional enforcement action is warranted, the borough will review it through its normal administrative process. The presentation further asks what disclosures are made to prospective purchasers. The borough does not provide legal opinions or title disclosures during private real estate transactions. We provide public records maintained in the ordinary course of business, including permit fees, permit records, code enforcement records, and property files, as required by Pennsylvania's right to know law. Buyers are encouraged to perform their own due diligence with the assistance of their attorney, engineer, home inspector, or title company. And finally, I think it's important to provide some context regarding the borough's overall sidewalk enforcement efforts. In October of 2025, borough staff and a member of council drove practically every public street in the borough and identified sidewalks presenting significant trip hazards. On March 1st, 2026, notices were mailed to more than 60 property owners directing that hazardous sidewalks be repaired or replaced, and additional notices have been issued as new violations have been identified. To date, we have opened 106 sidewalk-related cases. 71 involve general sidewalk maintenance, and 47 of those have already been resolved. 35 were generated through deed transfers or property sales, with 22 already brought to compliance. Overall, 69 of the 106 sidewalk-related violations have been addressed, representing significant progress. More recently, the Zoning and Codes Office completed a comprehensive inspection of Main Street and identified additional sidewalks requiring repair or replacement. Those notices are expected to be mailed during the month of August. As always, if residents observe sidewalks or other conditions that they believe require borough attention, they are encouraged to submit a citizen complaint form that allows concerns to be documented, investigated, and addressed consistently and fairly under the borough's ordinances. And that concludes my report. I'll be happy to answer any questions council may have.
Thank you. Do you need any additional comments?
I got one.
I have a question quick. Do you think we're in a good space now with the amended ordinance from last meeting? In terms of like what we need in legal mechanisms and those kind of factors?
I believe so.
I
And
think so
Barry
too.
might agree with me,
Changes
because a lot
will
of that ordinance had to do with excavating as well, so.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think from the standpoint of the sidewalk ordinance, there was some upgrades and improvements, I think. You know, with the ADA standards and other standards about PennDOT standards, I think that was good.
Yeah, I think the language is just, you know, I'm not a lawyer either, but the language is a lot more clear.
Right.
And I think it allows some more specifics as well, including being able to save some street trees and stuff like that when possible. I think overall, just as a layman, I'm more comfortable reading it and just kind of parsing through it. It makes our job a little bit easier when a request for deferral comes up here. So, you know, if there's anything, you know, I definitely feel confident with it now as it is than, you know, when we were having these discussions a year ago, say.
Any additional comments?
Yeah, just quickly. I mean, I'll take a look at what Terry says, but when you write a right to know, you're asking for what the information was at the time. I didn't make it up. It's nice to have a comment, but the right to know is, did you issue a permit? Yes or no? No permit, sidewalk installed.
Yeah, it's records. I'm giving
It's
any records. that we
Okay,
have.
so all I'm saying is, they're the records. That's it. So I will look at what Terry said. I appreciate her comments. But to your point, Mr. Courier, if you're putting in a new ordinance about PennDOT and all these other things, Matt, what I just showed you at Mountain View is exactly what that's supposed to take care of. So we have an ordinance, a new ordinance, but we still can't, we're putting in 27-inch sidewalks. So just think about this. That's been approved. And a new homeowner goes there and buys a house, and shazam, there's an inspection, they sell that. Terry leaves, a new inspector comes out, 27 inches. You gotta replace it. That's not the way to do it. So I'll respond to the facts. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments or discussion?
I do, actually, because I'm getting confused. Whose responsibility would it be to answer his question, Chip's question, if it is an approved 27 or 28, whatever it is, and it should be XYZ? Where does that come in?
It's approved now, so it was approved
Well,
under
right,
the
but
old,
I'm
it's
saying-
approved under the old ordinance.
Okay, so they sell the house,
Mhm.
we have the old ordinance, we have a new ordinance now.
Right.
Who, will they have to replace that?
Well, they can come if they don't, it depends. If it sells in 20 years, they might have to because of the condition of the property.
Okay.
But if they want to come and say, well, look, it was this way, it was grandfathered in at the time of the ordinance, they can make an appeal to the Borough Council. Just like we always reserve discretion to make the right decision based on the specific facts, because one size doesn't fit all in
Thank
terms
you.
of the sidewalks.
I respect
Thank you. That's a
I'm sorry.
great point, given the circumstances, even of earlier tonight's meeting, right?
At the end of the day, the sidewalks are the responsibility of the homeowner.
That's
Yeah.
right.
This isn't an HOA, this isn't a, you know, at the end of the day, they're the responsibility of the homeowner. And if somebody wants to pay to replace them all annually, because the only thing guaranteed in concrete is it will crack, then we expect your donation and your check at Borough Hall tomorrow.
I think we're in a much better spot. I think Mr. Wagner's, you know, efforts have definitely kind of improved sidewalks and have led to certain things. But I think we've spent a lot of time on sidewalks. We've spent a lot of administrative effort on sidewalks. I believe that our code is in a better spot right now. I believe that, at least from a knowledge-based standpoint, I think members of Borough Council, members of the public are, you know, in a better spot now. And I'm confident in our staff moving forward on the issue, you know, in enforcement and, you know, remediation efforts as well. I think it's just much clearer for residents, potential residents, home buyers, et cetera. So given that, I'd like to make a motion. I'd hereby make a motion to formally acknowledge that the sidewalk matter has been fully vetted and investigated after months of review and public comment and input. Borough Council and the Codes Officer have addressed the sidewalk situation, and proper steps are now in place which fully resolve this issue going forward. I note that the sidewalk ordinance has been amended. Necessary inspections have been done for seriously defective sidewalks, and needed repairs have been completed or in the process of completion. Enforcement has been implemented when needed. Borough Council has directed that future inspections of streets will be completed over the next several years on a street-by-street basis, and enforcement will be sought when warranted under that ordinance. Therefore, Borough Council declares the sidewalk matter officially closed and directs that no further agenda time be dedicated to this specific topic at future meetings unless a majority of council deems otherwise. The Borough Code Officer is actively managing the situation, and council has taken proper steps for future sidewalk inspections after months of input from the public.
I have a first for motion to acknowledge that the matter has been vetted and investigated and to put it to rest. Do I have a second from Mike? I do have one thing to add, and that is just in further discussion of the motion. I do think that this is, I see this as a multi-year effort, right? We're never going to fully fix every single sidewalk. It is going to be a time issue, right? And it's going to happen over the course of time to fix those. And you're going to have ones that are compliant now, and 2 years are no longer compliant. That's just how sidewalks will work. And the effort is to continue to work those through the mechanisms that we have in place with the ordinance, and to address those as those come up.
Can I ask a question? One as well. So basically what I just heard is I can't come here and bring up sidewalks ever again.
You can come to and have comments during our agenda items or non-agenda items.
Well, I'm gonna investigate if that's against my First Amendment rights. And if it is, I'll be back. Okay, just so you know, because that sure sounds like it. You're basically saying after I just presented that there's issues with sidewalks being installed, you're saying don't bring them.
No, Mr. Whiting, I think what we're saying is we are addressing those issues, just like Terry said. We're gonna look at those issues. We're gonna do an inspection on a case-by-case basis, but we're not gonna do it all in 1 year. We've now changed the ordinance based upon your input, and anyone is free to come, including you, on non-agenda items to bring up other additional items, and the code officer will then take a look at the sidewalks, and if there's complaints made, we'll investigate. But I think what council is saying, we've now vetted this, and the plan we have in place to do it over a year, a multi-year program where inspections are going to be done, and we've now adopted a new ordinance, largely with some of your input, that we don't need to place this on the courtesy of the floor. It's on courtesies of floor, but it's not on a preset. I'm drawing blanks, pre-scheduled appearances.
Okay.
So it's not something that we're going to devote the full council's attention to. If someone comes here on agenda items or non-agenda items and there's an issue, of course, council's going to continue to look at that. But the position of the borough is that the plan that we've now implemented is the plan. We're not going to tweak it anymore. Does that make sense?
A good plan if it was working.
Well,
Good.
we think it is, but
Well,
that's,
I just showed you one that wasn't.
well, that's for the discretion of the council.
No discretion, just look at it. But
Thank you. I do have a motion on the floor, and we'll take a vote. All in favor of the motion, placed by Larry with seconded by Mike, to acknowledge the sidewalk matter, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion does carry. Moving forward, I do next have, where are we at? Comments on agenda items. Do I have any further comments on agenda items from the room? Yep, sir, you could step forward and give us your name.
Yes, my name is David Boulan, and I'm from Lower Saucon.
Could you spell your name, please?
Sure, Boulin.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I find it very interesting. I usually sit in front of the Lower Saucon Council, and so you folks are a little bit different.
Good or bad?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
By the way, I'm not running for office, and I have no plans of doing that. Although I will say some things that you will not perhaps agree with, and others that you will. So from that standpoint, let me say the following. I came in around 10:30 this morning from working. And the bottom line is somebody had left me a nice email saying, gee, what does it say? The solicitor is going to prepare service agreement, lease agreement, and draft ordinances naming Lower Saucon Fire and Rescue as the official recognized fire company for the Hellertown Borough. Okay, I assume you all saw that on your agenda. I see some quizzical looks. It is, and I did look at it, and I did see it myself with my own eyes, and it's still there. And it will get a Lower Saucon resident's attention, of which I am one. And the bottom line is that what I'm really surprised about is that there are other agreements that have started to been forged between the two towns, or the town and the township, that have not gone well. And I think that's what started me in attending a town council meetings. And the first one was the agreement between Lower Saucon and none other than the Borough of Hellertown. This, we're talking about the library. And as you're all painfully aware, this went through the courts for quite a while, with a final ruling by the President Judge of Northampton County, Dolly, saying you will turn over the financials so that Lower Saucon can make a determination. Well, fortunately for some, the election turned the tables, and the solicitor that came in the next day was ordered to drop the lawsuit. We never got the financials, but indeed we're paying substantial money into Hellertown for that particular item. Now, we were also supposed to get financials on that, which we've not seen. So here's the point. I am very concerned about any agreements that are pending, such as this, because I have not seen the agreement. I've talked to the people in the township on both sides, and nobody in that township, in terms of whether they're politicians or staff, has seen that agreement, and yet it pops up on Facebook. Well, that's a wonderful place now, isn't it? I'm also very much concerned about the financials of Dewey. We use their ambulance service readily, but in terms of fire service, from what I understand, Lower Saucon has been providing that fire service, or roughly 90%, as best I can glean in the few hours I had before I was due here to talk about this. 90%? And are we getting paid back for that? Meaning Lower Saucon taxpayer? Now, if this agreement says that Lower Saucon Fire and Rescue is going to be the new supplier for Hellertown, then I'd ask, well, what happens with all of the fire equipment that's here? Is that going to be sold? And where does that money go? You see, it's money that makes the world go around, and power. And I've learned this in the last 7 years, just being at the council, watching lawsuits. So, and I also make a statement too, which is a little harsh, that you've not been so wise with your money. And even a fellow like Mark Osmak, if you know who he is, maybe not the best orator in the world, has made this statement in a very whimsical position, saying, why would you join Hellertown unless they get their financials in shape? Now, let's talk about financials. It's not just those simple things. We're talking about the police force, the chiefs, 2 of which are in jail, to the whole sum of over $500,000. Doesn't surprise anybody. That's a lot of money, at least in my bucket it is. So I like to keep an eye on things. I do the financials on Lower Saucon and watch it very carefully, all right? And this is going to be another one. This is not a fly, just a few dollars here and there. This is significant. So, first of all, I would ask why you would publish such a thing without, clearly the manager did not know about this when I called him first thing in the morning, although he said he had a lot of items just that this morning because of, and I assume it was this, he did not say. All right? So doing that is a little, to me, a little bit out of character for this township here, or this town. I have to wonder why your fire services isn't problems financially. Obviously, Lower Saucon has the same responses and other things that you have here. The difference is that you have a huge tax base compared to Lower Saucon. And that means in terms of your companies that work here, et cetera, et cetera. I'd say huge. We can differentiate that. So, who's going to pay for this? Who has paid for it, right?
Sir, we do have a 5-minute limit. I think
Can I
we've
have
reached,
just a minute or two to finish?
we've reached the 5 minutes.
Okay.
We do have this on the agenda later
Yes, I know you
to
do.
discuss further.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I have any other comments on agenda items?
I just got a question. For the Halloween parade, I guess this would be more of the chief. Barry put barricades up on New York Avenue between Depot and Redheimer. They moved barricades and people were driving down there. I got bumped last year from the New York plates on the car. I was wondering, can I block that road off with my vehicle just for the parade?
I think that would be
So
a
nobody
safety
gets hit.
issue.
'Cause last year they were driving right around the fields and all.
And I know this is cheap, but I'll answer part of that question. This happens everywhere.
Yeah.
This is just not, a Depot issue. This is Magnolia on Main Street. This is down on Water. Delaware Avenue. So we have everything marked. We also post that you cannot move these, and you're in violation if you do. And we have called the police, and they have done their very best to keep people off of the parade route.
Thank you.
Because I know during the parade, I don't know if the chief saw, but 2 motorcycles in a parade, they went up Durham Street.
It's terrible.
I said, that is really bad.
Someone's gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe they don't want the parade no more. I like the parade though.
We like the parade.
Yeah.
You beat me to it. If enough people continue, that's the option.
Yeah.
The nice things that this town has can go away if the community doesn't want to support and act like decent human beings. And last year we did have some close calls on Constitution, and the chief was involved. For one person that's worked alongside Dave on this for a very long time, last year was probably the most frustrating of years. I think Dave's probably knows the last one about 20 years ago. People are, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say.
We live in a me world. It's not a we anymore.
Yeah.
So whatever is most convenient for those that need to get from point A to point B, even though we publicize it, that's what they're gonna do. And so no one wants to be inconvenienced. We promote safety. We promote as much as we can do as far as the inconvenience, but it falls on deaf ears. And Tom said it best. First of all, you've got to respect what we do, and second of all, if it's not being respected, then we need to change the alternative plans.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're speaking of, and actually that we didn't identify who exactly was the person who moved the barricade. However, some of the people who are moving barricades were from out of town.
Yeah.
And had to be at a certain location. It's the only way their GPS told them to go, and they proceeded to do it in their fashion. So we educated them and tried to get them off the route as quickly as possible. Again, we try to make it as fun as possible for everybody. Yeah. But you always have a couple who ruin it for everyone.
That's like your truck drivers.
What's that?
That's just like your truck drivers at GPS. They tell them to go on this road and they're not allowed to.
Exactly. The GPS told me to go this way,
Yeah.
right? And that's a shame because you do your due diligence and figure out what you really need to do, like it used to be done. So I appreciate your concerns.
Is there any way we could target an officer around that area during
So
parade setup?
we have officers assigned in different areas that are in most problems. Believe it or not, water at Main right there, even though we put fire trucks, barricades, we still have people who try to go around it. And we have two officers posted there, so it's, we can't be everywhere all the time. It sounds like a broken record with that, but we try to strategically plan where we had problems in the past to try to, how can we combat it this year to make it a little bit better.
And we're also bringing close to 2,000 people that participate into the town for 2 hours. And that's a bottleneck in itself. So, I mean, for the least amount of people that we have that are willing to volunteer, I think we do a pretty darn good job.
Oh, I agree with you on that.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Well, that's why I figured I better ask before I do it.
Yeah, don't.
No, the answer is no. Might cause more problems than it fixes.
I can only tell Dave told me to do it.
Do I have any other comments on agenda items or non-agenda items?
So would another barricade up there?
No.
I mean, yeah, I mean, we've tried cones, we've tried barricades, we've tried those A-frames. Last year, they jumped the curb, and I don't even know how they did that. They literally jumped the curb and almost hit people. Last year was probably the most frustrating day.
And it was larger last year. We ran out of room at the campus. The only thing I could probably suggest is I know of a red pickup truck that has a Pittsburgh Steelers emblem on the front, that we could probably use that one to barricade the street. That wouldn't matter then, right, Barry?
Don't mess
All right. So last call for any non-agenda items. Yes.
Me,
Thank you.
I want to talk about the fire situation. What you are talking about doing.
Yep.
Can
we get your name
a
again?
big mistake. Leroy Schonenberger.
Thank you.
We will be,
Got it.
we will be discussing this and have a statement
We will.
later.
Should I wait?
It may answer some of your questions.
Probably answer most of your questions, or at least some
Okay,
of them.
number one, why is even thinking of doing that? Why?
That'll be answered.
Why?
That'll be part of the statement.
Okay. I'd like to know, I see there is one representative here from the fire, I guess, the assistant chief, right? How many calls have they missed since the beginning of the year? Fire calls, not going up on 78. 78 has nothing to do with Dewey. All right? Dewey responds up there with Lower Saucon as mutual aid. All right? Dewey has nothing to do with that. I'd like to know how many fire calls Dewey gets since the beginning of the year. I had asked that once before. I never got an answer.
Why don't you ask the chief?
I did.
And he said,
I never got an answer.
well, so we're
I
supposed to
asked
answer and he
Rick,
can't?
and I asked him. I never got an answer. And maybe Tom knows something.
So all of your questions will be answered if you give.
Okay.
I don't know that I have
Well,
that
not-
number off the top of my
but-
head, but
All of, again, this is not a, I think that
This is not a discussion.
this is, the answers will be provided in time. This is not a,
yeah, well, we're actually gonna have some more in-depth discussion available in September in our upcoming meetings. This is just a
Okay,
preliminary
I'm just-
step we're taking this evening, and just because this has come up now, just to read that statement now. So the statement, Hellertown Borough is currently negotiating an agreement with Lower Saucon Fire Rescue to expand the fire protection services within the borough. Lower Saucon Fire Rescue already provides mutual aid and support to the borough and Saco Valley corridor along Route 78. The borough is
And in
proceeding
Hellertown.
and in Hellertown, yes, within the borough. The borough is proceeding with negotiations following a careful evaluation of Hellertown's long-term public safety needs in light of current operational challenges facing Dewey Fire Company. Like many volunteer fire companies, Dewey Fire Company has experienced declining volunteer participation and has struggled to maintain continuity in leadership roles. Despite efforts such as the stipend program and citizen outreach, participation has not grown adequately to provide the level of coverage needed. Dewey Fire Company, the borough's priority is to ensure reliable and uninterrupted fire protection for our residents and businesses, and we are committed to working collaboratively with both the Dewey Fire Company and Lower Saucon Fire Rescue to provide continuous fire rescue services while still honoring Dewey Fire Company's more than 100 years of dedicated service to the Hellertown community. We're going to be discussing this in more depth in September meetings. This is an initial request for our solicitor to prepare documents. All right, these have not been finalized. They've not been signed. This is us to start preparing these documents.
There's 3 parties involved in this, and you're negating Lower Saucon Township.
So we have spoken with Lower Saucon Township several months ago. They were involved in a large conversation with the borough, with Dewey Fire Company, with Lower Saucon Fire Rescue, and
That's
representatives.
That's 2 out of the 3.
Excuse me, sir.
And representatives from Lower Saucon Township, including their solicitor, their township manager, and 2 of their council persons. So that meeting had, I think, 15 people, 20 people in it to discuss this. And I believe it, and the communication at that time was that the borough was to continue in negotiating directly with Lower Saucon Fire Rescue.
Who was all involved with
So
that?
before we don't need to get into.
We don't need to get into
like
that, but I
a
just.
roster and roll call here
Right.
right now. This is still non-agenda items and agenda items.
Right.
Appreciate your comments. Lindley's statement, we'll certainly be expanding on it in the future.
Right.
And discussing more when we
No,
actually
you're
get to
not
that
gonna make a
agenda.
decision tonight then.
No. There's no ordinance.
Yeah,
This is the beginning of a formal process to have the conversations. And
Right.
I think what is different, and I know a lot of people have read, recently up in Tamaqua where there was a even locally where there was I don't want to say hostile takeover or hostile removal of borough services from one fire department. This is not that, right?
Okay.
I know. I just want to point out that conversations have been ongoing for a very long time. This isn't us saying, hey, we're going right. This is mutual conversations amongst all parties. This kicks off a many-month conversation to move forward.
All right.
Yeah, this is just.
The way the gentleman brought it up, and it was on the laptop, just the way he worded it, that you were gonna make a final decision.
No,
That is not on the internet.
Yeah,
It
it
says
was.
authorized solicitor to prepare.
Sorry to believe everything you read on Facebook.
I don't believe it. It was on there, and everybody's excited about it.
Facebook is half the problem.
I would like to share that there's no change in service anticipated for Dewey EMS. There's no change anticipated for Dewey EMS. It's a mutual conversation about fire. And sir, your contributions to our discussion are appreciated, but this is Hellertown. And please be respectful when you come in and address yourself to the board. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move forward with our reports from our elected officials. Mr. Mayor.
Some great news, we're having Community Day, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, which is the 15th. We're gonna have opening ceremonies at 9:45. We will be able to have set up for vendors, which there are right now about 45-ish amount coming. And we're gonna be honoring 2 of our citizens, Andy Lee from Braveheart Highland Pub, and also Jackie Botter from Pondelic's Flower Shop. So they will receive an award and an appreciation for all they have done for our community. Want to mention a little bit about the Halloween parade. Halloween parade is scheduled for October. Excited for that. Please understand that yes, we can't change the date. The date of the parade is scheduled because of other parades that have already been scheduled. So we follow the schedule that whenever Bethlehem has their parade, we are 1 week before. And in the past, Coopersburg was 1 week before ours. So we have no control over changing the date because we got to be careful with the overlap of bands, etc. Our parade has grown to a very large size, and we are happy to have as many participants and bands that we hopefully will have again this year. One thing that everyone worries about is what do we do when it rains? It doesn't rain on our parade, so we're going to have a nice sunny day and it's going to be great. And the best part of the parade is the community gathering during the parade, but also at Dimmick Park, where we have wonton soup. Is it what it is?
The band?
Yeah, the band wonton soup.
It's like, I thought we were having hot dogs.
So I also want to mention that a big part of this is community support. And we love it, we get it, we understand it, but there also participants will get hot dogs and water and or hopefully we'll have apple cider too from Bechtol's, which is a big hit that always doesn't make it to the very end. But bring your chairs and what have you and enjoy community gathering. Again, wonton soup is there. And if you really want to know about trick or treat is always on the 31st, regardless of what day it falls on. That is a recommendation or some kind of borough institute that we don't change that at all.
Sort of like Social Security. We don't talk about it, we don't change it.
Right, right. I also want to mention that I talked with the Hellertown Historical Society, not trying to bounce off of anything, is they are not interested in combining Community Day with Heritage Day. I get it. I understand why they wanted not combine, but I wanted to go public on that because I did kind of mention that there's a possibility of combining them. They are not interested. But I want to mention something. We have been really fortunate with grants, and I'm going to ask Kathy, in her wise wisdom of help, to consider two areas of my pet peeves, so we can either allot some monies or take some monies from donations and get some things done. One thing I did not care for at the Heritage Day was the amount of people that were walking on the east side of the pond. What happens is there's an area that is actually going down toward the pond. And wouldn't it be nice if we could find some walkability study of some sort and get some walking path next to the pond, left of the pond, so people that have disabilities, handicap, whatever, any type of disabilities, that they can be a part of it instead of going down to the road next to the Saucon Creek. I think that would be a great idea. I believe it's the borough that owns the property.
Only thing you have to worry about is when it floods, whatever you put in place, we put blocked up driveway there, it ripped it right out. So
You know, you
if
can,
put
you
something
can,
permanent.
yeah, I was actually thinking, and you're right. Not that I would ever disagree with you, but I would probably say this: what's wrong with compressed stone that you could roll and well, I don't know, but that's something above my pay grade. But that would be a real nice thing to have, and maybe we can get some memorial funds for some benches that in case people can't walk that distance, they can sit. I think it's a great idea. So I said to Hellertown Historical Society that I was going to mention something to that effect, and maybe we can get some monies together and do what we can. The second thing is what I really would like to have done, again, I've said it many times, is a ramp on the right side of the bandstand at Dimmick Park. I still think that if we have an entrance and an exit, it's going to make things so much easier. Plus, it will protect the beautiful Hellertown bushes that we keep replacing. But I think it would be a nice thing to have. You can agree with me. You don't have to agree with me. But I still will say what I think we could do. Other than that, that finishes my report. Oh, there is something happening. What day is that? Tomorrow. Tomorrow. National Night Out. Everyone is invited. It doesn't matter where you go, even though we'd love you to come to Hellertown. Every municipality, township is having a National Night Out. What it does, it shows support. It shows that our police departments are approachable, and it leaves them let their hair down, so to speak, and become one with the community, those that have hair. Want to also mention that there's a good possibility that our chief will go into the dunk tank. And again, anyone who brings 5 pounds of ice, please bring it, and we will make sure that right before he's ready to go in, that he will get all the ice that, because we love him.
You're not gonna need much ice.
I know a person who has a large ice machine.
Yeah, I know one too. So just, we want to have fun. We want to show community. It's just not the chief, but the whole police department, secretary, the whole staff, everybody has been supporting this. And if we don't show up, it doesn't show support for how hard they work. And I think they did, they probably went around to every business in town personally and got some monies to offset. We even have, what do you say, two amusement rides that are coming.
We got an amusement ride, we do have ponies coming. It's just to hinge on what he's saying, this really is a community event in that I'm saying that businesses, the outpouring that they've given, whether it be gift certificates to restaurants, shirts, t-shirts, we have giveaways for everybody. And this really is a fun event. We got a DJ, and it really is a time to talk to the officers, get to know them, not in a police matter, just be able to speak with us one-on-one, ask questions, or just say, hey, you've been here how long? How many kids do you have? What's your family life like? And I'm encouraging it. Just about every one of my officers, unfortunately, 2 are away that won't be able to make it, but everybody else is going to be there. And even the officers working, when they have the opportunity, I want them to swing by and just be able to engage. Well, as far as there for the kids to take a look at, but this is what it's all about. This is what the Hellertown community is, and I appreciate everybody that is helping us out, and we're making this a great community event.
And the best part of it is they've worked hard for it. We've turned a page in our police department, and now it's time to look forward. It's time to recognize all of the officers that have done so much to make this the great community that it is. So please come out Tuesday. That's from 5 to
8.
5 to 8. And as I'm looking forward to, the best part is the dunk tank.
that you said you're getting in first.
Well, I don't, I don't think they want me to get rid of all the water that's in there finally.
We do have a drought warning, chief. We can't, waste the water.
Boy, I do like that one. That's it.
All right, thank you. I don't have anything to add. Tonight, we've had, our financing capital committee has been in hiatus over the summer due to scheduling conflicts. So we do anticipate, getting that back on schedule here soon. Moving forward, Larry.
Sure. So Hellertown Historical Society, to piggyback off of what Mr. Heinzman said, be a great opportunity for Eagle Scouts, Gold Star, National Honor Society, any FBLA projects that are out there for students to work on some exterior landscaping. There are definitely some problem spots, especially along the creek there, and that would be a great opportunity for people to get involved in helping out at the mill site. It is one of our treasures of town. The other things going on, we are going to be at National Night Out. The Historical Society will be there, and as well as Community Day. So looking forward to that. The committee for Heritage Day for next year has started to form and started to meet. They are planning, hoping to make next year even bigger and even better. And that's it for Heritage Day. The events will also be posted on social media throughout the rest of the summer, and they're looking forward to starting up Tavern Talks again very soon. It's been a successful educational program. On Planning Commission front, we do have a meeting scheduled for next week. We have 3 applicants to discuss. I would like to welcome aboard Monica, our newest member. She was approved by council at our last meeting to fill one of the spots on Planning Commission, and we still have one available spot on Planning Commission, 1 vacancy. So if anyone is interested in joining Planning Commission, really a volunteer position where you can make a lot of difference, learn a lot about the town. That's kind of how I got my start with the community here. We're open, and we got 1 opening. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Tom.
I have nothing to add that hasn't already been added.
Gail?
I just have a request that for the next council meeting, we could have a status on the Civil Service Commission and the status of the list. Next time.
I think the civil service we
It's filled, right?
have filled now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The committee's filled. All 3 positions are.
I'm just curious about
What, where we're at. in the
Where they're
process.
at?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, me, right?
Yes, Matt.
I was gonna say, do we block the parade route with the garbage trucks?
No, they're usually in the parade.
Oh, they're in the,
What?
like what, to your point, sir, blocking roads with, like, for Music Fest, I noticed they block. That's they brought in a
So,
large.
We just don't have enough.
No, we don't.
We don't have enough
The reason
manpower to move all
why-
the trucks around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I
That would be
wasn't
the
sure.
problem.
I just noticed the other, over
And
the
you have to
weekend,
have a
that they
CDL
blocked
to move
Main
them.
Street with their, they used RV vehicle.
Yeah, I think some of the issue is, specifically with the parade, is we have had instances where emergency services do need to come through or move, and
We can't.
normally we coordinate it, right? And have to pause the parade, let them pass, and it just, to have permanent objects there creates more of a safety hazard than not, right? Because we've had instances.
Person with the keys.
I was kind of curious.
Right.
Okay. You're not gonna move garbage truck. Okay, my report. The Hellertown Parking Study Survey has been distributed to the Main Street businesses and is open until August 23rd. We are looking to grasp the current state of availability, demand, turnover, and then offer solutions. Secondly, St. Luke's new health center located in the former Rite Aid building invited members of council for an upcoming press release and photo on the 17th. Kathy and I will be in attendance, right? And then finally, the Music in Dimmock Park Summer Concert Series has 1 remaining show scheduled for Sunday, August 23rd at 6 p.m. Please join us as we welcome Groove-A-Tune. Additionally, food and beverage vendors, including Mon and Mel's, Sweet Scoops, the Easton Wine Project, Lost Tavern Brewing, and the Hellertown Library will be in attendance. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike.
Our next meeting is scheduled for next Wednesday, the 12th,
along with what Matthew said, the 110 Main Street, which is the old Rite Aid building, under the renovations that they're having right now, there has to do some significant plumbing and fire redistribution. So that's going on. So we're reviewing the plans for that. Reviewing the plans for Cherry Lane Pump Station. Should be going through and done soon. And then just a planned review right now for 186 Main Street and 1352 Main Street. And that's it.
Thank you. Kathy?
Well, since most of what I was going to say, Matt said for me, the library committee met on Tuesday. Some of their upcoming activities on August 6th, they're having story time at the Lost River Caverns Pavilion with an optional tour available. So it's for all age groups, August 12th, an end of summer reading festival from 5 to 6:30, a tween ice cream party on the 13th. The 15th, they will be at Community Day. The 18th, for adults, a basic hand sewing class at 4:30. And August 23rd, they will be working the pavilion for music in the park. They do have one other request. If there's anyone in the borough that could assist with snow removal on the pavements at the library, not the main pavements, but the ones that run from the street to the doors and from the parking lot to the doors. They're looking for anyone that's available to do it. There is money put aside for it if anyone can do it. Just please contact Allie at the Hellertown Library. That's it.
Thank you. All right, moving on to our appointed officials. We do just have the zoning and code report tonight.
Yes, because we didn't have a second meeting in the month, so I figured I'd get my
Appreciate that.
July report to you. But permitting is very busy. We have about 73 open zoning permits. We have 110 open construction permits. So that's a reminder to our residents, our homeowners, that if your project is done, and give us a call and schedule your final inspection so we can close that permit out. We have an additional, say, 30 permits currently under review by either Barry Isaac or myself. I've reached out to the applicants stating that we need more information. You'd be surprised how many permit applications I get that just say shed. And I get no plan, no drawings, so yeah, that's where we're at.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the zoning report for July 2026?
So moved.
I have a first from Tom. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Larry. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. We do not have any unfinished business. Next on our new business, and again, this is not an approval to name the Lower Saucon Fire Services. This is just to authorize our solicitor to prepare some preliminary draft agreements for moving forward with those negotiations. So that will be a draft negotiation for the service agreement, the lease agreement between the entities, and the draft ordinance to name Lower Saucon Fire Rescue. So these are in consideration of a time frame. So we have things prepared and can move quickly as we continue that negotiation. Do I have any other comments or questions on this item?
I just think some discussion for context for the record would be good. I think it's important for people to remember that the Dewey Fire Company is a separate nonprofit and not directly controlled by the borough. We contract for professional services with Dewey Fire as we do with other nonprofits. So that is the situation. It's kind of a determination. It's tricky. Like if before I got involved with local government, if you asked me, is Dewey Fire Hellertown's fire? It's like, yes, absolutely. But that's, kind of a distinction that's important for people to understand. And this is definitely, a complex issue. Volunteer everything is reaching critical points in a lot of sectors, and fire departments are definitely hit very hard. Tom has spoken on it on a couple ways that, probably this is the first part of a large, change in how fire services are rendered throughout the state. And to, just back up what you said and what Gail said, this is not going to affect EMS services that are currently provided by Dewey, and is, part of, really just the beginning and an exploration. We're not authorizing any changes. We're not authorizing any, cost outlays or anything like that. It's just kind of the beginning of a negotiation process.
Correct.
So.
That is correct. Any other comments from?
Yeah, I think just to continue on that, regardless of if you live in the township or the borough, and if you want to be a firefighter, they're all practicing right now. Go down. Doesn't matter where you do it. It matters that you do it. And I think that's what we're losing as a community, even to the gentleman who brought up the going around barricades and jumping curbs during Halloween parade. A little less about me and a little bit about us would be a much welcome change in the community. Kind of same thing. No one wants to devote time to volunteer organizations, but every Monday night, right, Matt? Doesn't matter, either Dewey Station or Seawyco or wherever you want, go out and volunteer. It'll help the entire community, not just one or the other.
That is correct. Yep.
Matt, do you guys have does Dewey have an online link
Yeah, there's all application Dewey.
for applications?
Same thing
Okay.
with Salt.
All right, so there is an online link, and I know that 16 also has an online link.
Been saying the same thing for 10 years. So
Any other context on the agenda item specifically, or any other discussion on that, or do we need to go into that in more detail, or?
I mean, I think at this point, to prepare directly with negotiations with Lower Saukon Fire Rescue. Again, the township has been involved. We have had discussions with them. And they're based on those discussions, it was indicated to us to proceed with negotiations directly with the fire rescue, with Lower Saukon Fire Rescue, and that is what we have been doing and preparing. We did meet as a preliminary with Lower Saukon Fire Rescue and had a this is what we're looking to propose. Conversation with them, and that document has been shared with the township. So they're aware of those initial conversations, and we do have follow-up meetings scheduled. So this is in light of those meetings that we have some more well-rounded draft.
Work to discuss further.
Right, to really kind of pinpoint how we move forward with that, with any contracts that we might engage with them. So I think that's
And a continuity of fire services is definitely
continuity
one
of fire services.
the biggest things that a borough has to provide, or a municipality has to provide for its citizens. It doesn't specify where it comes from, what zip code it comes from, what the organization name is, if it's a professional organization, if it's a volunteer organization, where that is. It is one of the biggest responsibilities that a municipality has, even superseding police services, and some other ancillary services. Nothing says that we have to have our own sanitation department, but it does say that we do have to provide for fire services within the borough code, and providing that continuity of services is one of our biggest priorities, if not our biggest priority as your local leaders.
Yeah.
So I make a motion to approve as presented.
I have a motion from Larry. I have a second from Mike. Do I have any further comments before we proceed to? I'm sorry. It was Tom. Thank you. Tom and Mike provided my first and
Larry's funny.
That's
a compliment. That's a compliment. I got an upgrade.
Sorry, brain glitch. Do we have any other further comments or discussion before we go to vote? Nope. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. All right. Next, we have an appointment for Andrew Urbanski to Sanitation Department beginning August 4th, 2026.
Yes.
Make a motion.
Andrew, if you'd like to stand up, I'd like to introduce you to Andrew Urbanski. He comes with his CDL license, and he's ready to start tomorrow.
Well, Andrew, you got a very, very big introduction.
I know a little bit about the town. My father-in-law owned Wings on Main and Crossroads, so I'm always here. I love the Halloween parade. Please do not get rid of it. I love it. I would always stand out on in front of Wings, and I used to sell hot dogs and sodas, and I enjoyed it.
I never got one.
They should.
You're too busy running around.
It's
I make a
fun.
motion to approve it.
And he's ready to start tomorrow.
And
good
ready to
luck.
start tomorrow.
I will second that motion.
So I have a first from Gail, a second from Larry.
Because this meeting went long, you don't have to start until 10 o'clock.
For sanitation. That's an extra day off.
You could just use your
Not my
Steelers.
body.
You'll just use your Steelers truck for a couple hours. You don't need to go anywhere.
Congratulations.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Good luck.
Good luck.
So
Welcome.
we do need a vote still.
Yes.
I did have a first from Gail, a second from Larry. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Watch out for bears.
Well, wave. I'll wave if I see you on the mouth walking Madonna.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, keep it that way.
Put that request in for next year's, the week after community yard sale. Trust me, you don't want to be on the truck.
Just kidding.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
And then we have an appointment for Bethany Ascalese.
Ascalese as
Am I saying that right?
our administrative assistant. Unfortunately, Bethany could not be here tonight
Okay.
due to another commitment. But I wanted to get her on the agenda and get council's blessing because we're not meeting again this month, and having her start as soon as possible. She's actually coming in tomorrow with Lisa and I just to go over some paperwork and to meet the rest of the staff. She comes from over 5 years of as an administrative assistant in a very busy area. So after interviewing her, we thought that she would work out well here.
Any
Make a
other-
motion, we accept as presented.
Got a first from Mike. Do I
Second.
have a second from Tom? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. We have Tyler Yeakel. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Excellent. Step increase to truck driver 2.
On Barry's recommendation, I make a motion to approve.
I say,
We have a first from Tom, second from Gail. I don't think we'll have any other discussion, so move to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. Policy for air quality closure for the swimming pool.
Yes, in your agenda packets, we put together a public swimming pool air quality closure policy. And that is due to the air quality that we've been having, the code reds, code purples, that we've been having occasionally the past few years. But it gives us a guide, to definitely go with the air quality index, monitor that throughout the day. Basically, put out notices if it's 101 to 150 that it's unhealthy for sensitive groups. 151 to 200, it's unhealthy, and that's where we would close the pool down. We're looking at the safety of our lifeguards and staff who are outside in this 8-9 hours a day. Patrons can choose to come and go. But the staff, they don't really have anywhere else to go but to be out there on their guard stands. So I'd like council to consider that as a guide for future.
What do you use as a source for your data? I'm just curious.
So pools, EPA,
No, not a source for this, but your source for determining what the AQ thinks.
The EPA.
that is the EPA's,
Okay.
yeah. Well, no, but it's actually.
And this comes up after the last few years, we've had the air quality issues from the
Right.
fires,
in
correct?
Canada.
So, just to give that, kind of guidance, for the borough and moving forward.
Mhm.
Any other questions, comments?
No, I just appreciate Kathy putting this together with the staff.
Sure.
I think it's definitely very important. Unfortunately, these wildfires are not going away. Sad to say, things are definitely changing, and not for the better with air quality, especially in the summertime. So I think this is a good step to protect our staff and the folks in Hellertown. So I would make a motion to accept this draft policy as presented.
And first from Larry, second from Gail. I think we've already done our discussion, so we'll move to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. Final payment application for Grace Industries, and this is Reinhardt Park.
Yes, correct. This is the final payment application for Reinhardt Park project. This is essentially the retainage that's been held. We've received all the closeout documents and bonding and recommending final payment.
So moved.
Second.
First from Mike, second from Tom. Any questions? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. Discussion on the Franklin Street no outlet.
So I asked to have this put on because I'm concerned about the concerns of the residents who live down there. And one of the things that keeps coming up is the traffic that could go one way actually is tending to go the other way. And whether or not there is a sign that says no outlet, which there is, and they're requesting a thought process to kind of maybe redirect traffic and mitigate that a little bit. Is that what is that? Is that a borough road? Is that a?
Yeah,
Is it-
so, I mean,
so-
they're both, Franklin and Williams are both borough streets up to the entrance to the hospital.
Yeah, so Brian, I think that's the question on hand is, did that sign, is it on the plan? Because Franklin Street technically ends.
Correct.
And there is no outlet. If that is the case, then maybe between Sheets and LVHN, they could put some wayfinding signs up on the interior of the site because people don't think they can get out on the 412.
412.
They're coming back out onto Franklin Street.
Gotcha. Yeah, we can certainly talk to them and see if they can put something up just to direct folks.
Or do we really need the no outlet sign?
Or do we need a one-way there too, so people can't even run there?
Well, so the no outlet sign would have to go on the north side of the Sheets access. So it would just direct them not to go to the hospital site, but they can go into that site and then actually access the, right turn out.
Right,
They're
so
not
maybe,
picking up on that. They're not picking up on that.
maybe a directional sign.
So maybe a
choose-
directional sign will be enough just to let people know that they have some options.
Or even to access 412, make a right and go
Yeah.
up to that entrance. Like
Right.
it's more,
Yeah.
Right turn on.
Yeah. I mean, right now they have the option to go either way, but like certainly we can talk to them about.
well, 412 north this way, 412 south that way, right? Like
Right, and
it's-
that just helps direct traffic, so you're getting less.
Because there's been-
Right.
And on that corridor, I know there's been some backups with the lights, which I imagine because the lights are being worked on. But I think there's definitely some timing issues coming off of like something's a little wacky.
So
Right.
they're in a 30-day test period right now.
Oh,
So
well,
they're being
whatever they're
monitored.
testing, they ain't working.
Yeah, so they're going through that, that's standard. So
Yeah.
they're tweaking them and it's going through that 30-day period. So I would anticipate there would be changes and obviously it's gonna result in some funky patterns for a little bit.
You know when that 30 days is gonna be complete?
It's current now, so I believe it's like mid-August is when the end of that 30-day period.
So we should know by our next
Does
September meeting, maybe?
does the summation of that review period could require changes that the developer needs to do to that signalized intersection?
So it's being coordinated between PennDOT and the
Sheets.
developer's engineer.
Yeah, both.
And so, and actually, it's not Sheets at all, it's all through, through the Champion site.
Okay,
So they're the ones that actually have the permit. So they're-
but that coordination could mean they have to do some signal modification depending on that 30
They
day.
will adjust the timing, correct? And it's not just that signal and kick line, but it actually impacts Cherry
three
Lane,
signals, yeah.
High Street, and then also going north into Bethlehem. And they're all timed together. And just a reminder for council, all those signals are actually owned by Bethlehem as
Right.
well. So Bethlehem's the one that's coordinating directly with that.
Yeah. There's just been like, because that does affect anyone coming off the highway at Vassey's and Sheets intersection. You can't get into Hellertown without waiting 10 minutes. So like there may be.
Bad today, coming down Cherry. It was
I think that may
bad.
be a reach out. Something's not working and it's definitely not working, right? So do whatever you want, but fix it, right?
Yeah.
It's broke.
Well, that's what this time is for.
Yeah, well, again, waiting another 20 days of backlogs isn't fair to,
So they're actually making adjustments as they go along.
So
So
can
it's
I
not
share-
like it's like they're waiting till 30 days.
Can I share that Cherry was a mess? It was literally, I mean, I, local, so I knew where to turn in and come back out, and I was way ahead of everybody that was still waiting in the Waffle House Road. So there's an obvious problem there. And I don't know why they decided you can't make a right turn on red there, but
That's been an ongoing issue actually for a couple of years now. And it just keeps growing. That came up with the planning commission discussion when we were talking about the new warehouse that's being proposed in Lower Saucon as, you know, another area of concern because there's just always a backup.
well, that probably contributed to it now, thinking of the time of day. But it was literally, I was sitting there for maybe 15 minutes and I thought, what, is it an accident? And it wasn't, it was
No, it's
just
just
a
flow.
light. So we have a plan to look at the Franklin Street sheets then?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
I'll coordinate with the developer.
All right, you can hear about that next meeting?
Yeah, I'll reach out to
What's
them.
your progress?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, super, thank you.
Thank you.
make a motion to pay the bills.
Make a motion to pay the bills. Yes, August 6th, 2026.
I'll
payable.
second that, but I have a question on 13346, Saco Valley Hardware. Is that a hardware store down here?
Oh, so it's just the name that we're remitting, Talking True Value to.
Yeah, it's
Value, okay. Was the cookie not cleanup?
I was gonna say, yeah.
Was that covered by insurance?
No.
Or we had to pay that out of pocket?
Mhm.
Okay.
That was the theft last month.
Did we ever catch them?
Not them, but we bought the most recent set of deeds.
Okay, super.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. I have a first from Tom, a second from Gail. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. Announcements, I just did want to remind everyone that we do not have a council meeting on August 17th. Our next meeting will be September 3rd. Is that correct? I don't have my calendar up here.
Junior council members.
I have an announcement from junior council person.
Can you just quick say that school starts on the 24th? So
24th of August.
Yeah.
24th of August, September 8th, right? Because of
September
Labor
8th,
Day
because that's not-
will be our next borough council meeting. So we look forward to seeing everybody there.
Oh, it's a Tuesday.
Hearing that, I'd
We
like to
did
make
meet
a
in
nomination.
executive session earlier today. I'm sorry, I forgot to say this earlier. We did meet in executive session earlier today to discuss possible litigation. Anything else that I need to bring up there? And contracts. And contracts.
I'll second Mike's motion.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yep. So moved.
Aye.
Aye. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, I'm probably gonna get in trouble for that one. Meeting is adjourned.